Hi everyone, my name is Amy and today I will be presenting to you a learning activity to introduce the concept of decimal place value. Decimal place value can be seen as an extension of the base 10 place value system to show two sets of indefinite values, the whole number being the larger value and the decimal being the smaller value. The introduction of the decimal point can help children identify these values. Decimal place value can be a tricky concept for some students, and difficulties understanding it can occur because not enough emphasis has been placed on using place value to name numbers. So children may read decimals as individual digits. For example, when looking at a number like this, rather than saying 15 hundredths, children may say 0.15, which takes away all meaning of place value. In addition to this, the introduction of the new decimal places, being the tenths and the hundredths, can also contribute to difficulties because if the children do not have a thorough understanding of whole number place value concept, the children will have difficulty extending into the decimals. The learning objective of this lesson is for the children to gain an understanding of decimal place value by first reviewing the whole number place value system, to then introduce the decimal place value by adding the decimal point convention and the tenths, hundredths and thousandths. This lesson would best be used in a grade 4 classroom as, according to Osvalds, the content descriptor says that children recognise that the place value system can be extended to tenths and hundredths, and they can also make connections between fractions and decimal notation. The students should already have a sound knowledge of the whole number base 10 place value system and will have had some knowledge of decimals, however not enough to really grasp the concept of decimal place value. Students can then use this knowledge and apply their skills to this activity to help them understand the application of further place value columns being the tenths and the hundredths. The children will know that a decimal point is a convention that distinguishes the differing place units. However, the children need to be made aware that the decimal point is simply a full stop to separate the whole numbers and decimals, and that it does not have its own column like the other numbers do. Okay, so for the introduction, you might have a bit of a chat about whole place value, and you might even do a few examples on the board. So, for example, you might say, what is 4 tens and 5 ones? And hopefully they'll be able to put their hand up and say that the 4 goes in the tens column and the 5 goes in the ones column. Just like so. So you would continue on with as many whole number place value as you'd like, just so that they can get an understanding of it, and then you would move on to the decimals. Now, what I would suggest is to give a decimal number, for example, 5 tenths, 0 ones and 5 tenths. And maybe some of them might know, but if you just add a little decimal place between the ones and the tenths column here, they might be able to make a connection from what they've learnt previously, and that might assist them in helping them give the answer. So hopefully they will say that the 0 goes in the ones column and the 5 goes in the tenths column. And we would read that as 0 ones and 5 tenths. And again, you would move on to just decimals, and then you might also do mixed decimals as well, and again, as many as you feel you need to go through. So I just thought it would be a good idea to start up with this activity, just to kind of get their knowledge ready, I suppose, and just give them a bit of a reminder of how we name the numbers when we're talking about place value, and also an introduction into the decimals place value system. Okay. So, for the actual activity, that I'll be showing you today, as I mentioned, each child will get a number card and also a decimal point card. So the aim is to have the groups in 10, and the aim is to kind of develop that social learning and have them work together as a team to try and come up with the right answer. So it might be a good idea to leave the place value chart on the wall, on their whiteboard, just so they can kind of refer back to it when they are doing their, putting their number together. And then maybe later on, once you feel that they've got the hang of it, you might want to remove the place value chart and see if they can still complete it without it. Okay, so for a few little examples of this activity, you might start off with whole number place value, just to give them a bit of an idea of how the game works and what's required of them. And then once they've got the hang of it, you can then move into decimals. So I'll give you just a few little examples right now. So I might say to the children, can you please show me what 4 10s and 2 1s looks like on a place value chart? And then hopefully you'll have 2 people come up. One will have a 4 and one will have a 2, and they will line up under the place value chart on the board and say 4 10s and 2 1s. Then you might move on to combining whole numbers and decimals. And so I might say, can you please show me what 3 1s and 5 10ths looks like? And then for this one, you should have 3 people come up to the front. One will have a 3. One will have a 5. And one will have a decimal point. And they should line up under the place value chart like so. 3 1s and 5 10ths. Okay, so then you might want to move into just decimals. So I would say, can you please show me 86 hundredths? And then hopefully you'll have 3 people coming up again. One with an 8, one with a 6, and then one with a decimal point. And then they should line up like so. So 86 hundredths. You might also want to have a conversation about that this is 8 tenths and this is 6 hundredths, and then how we combine the two to make 86 hundredths, and relate it back to how you would for whole place value as well. For a bit of an extension, you might want to combine whole number and decimals and label them in the correct place value way. So I might say, can you please show me 971 tenths? And then hopefully you should have 4 people come up this time. One with a 9, one with a 7, one with a 1, and also a decimal. And then hopefully they line up like so. 9, 7, decimal, 1. Then you could also have the discussion, so this would be 9 tenths, 7 1s, and 1 tenth, which makes 971 tenths. Once you've had a few practice goes with the children, you can then create a bit of a competition or a game and have the teams in their groups, and then the first team to come up with the correct answer will receive 1 point, and then the first team to 5 points wins. Okay, so I feel that this activity is closely related to Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, as it introduces and reinforces decimal place value by combining multiple learning styles, including modelled mathematical language, auditory learning, visual representations, and kinesthetic learning. This is important because as teachers, we need to cater to all learning styles. So thank you for your time, and I hope that you'll be able to use this lesson in your classroom one day. Thank you.